And let's have a conversation about it because it's going to be talked about. We'll talk about it. That's Jimmy G and the 49ers. First and foremost, the 49ers have I mean for the fact that they're they were in the NFC Championship is crazy to me. Especially when you look at how they played. Now, if you would have predicted a fully healthy roster to be in the NFC Championship, I wouldn't have been as surprised. But a roster that has dealt with injuries all year to make it is incredible. Deebo Samuels has been has been a godsend for this team, and the video of him breaking down at the end of the game and crying, that's just passion, man. People always, it is what it is. I cried in my game at the last game I played in college, man. I cried because I'm just like I'm possibly never gonna play with these guys again. I was a senior, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that Debo saying, but when you want to win that bad, and of course we lost our championship game, I want to win, So the fact that he showed emotion, that means something, and I like that. I like the fact that your best player at the time is balling because he wanted to win. And shouts out to Odell Beckham Jr. for trying to, with the world, the pandemonium that's going on right now, you seek out Debo and talk to him. George Kittle is one of the best tight ends in the league. He made some big catches. Trent Williams is arguably one of the best left, if not the best, tackle in football. He made some big plays or protections. But we need to talk about Jimmy G. Now, it's easy to kill Jimmy G. It's easy to kill Jimmy G. That last play that he had, trying to scramble, not try to take a sack and just flick the ball up and it gets intercepted. Kind of the same thing that Kyler Murray did to a lesser extent, but pretty much the same thing that Kyler Murray did against the Rams, ironically. We can also talk about the overthrows, the throws behind, the behind throws. And all that comes with Jimmy G. That right there to me is honesty in a nutshell. When we talk about quarterbacks, what are you getting? When we talk about Lamar Jackson, what are you getting with Lamar Jackson? You're not going to get the most accurate of passers. However, you're going to get a dynamic runner. You're going to get a dynamic quarterback. There could be plays where he might throw the ball at the ground or might overthrow a player. But the great Lamar Jackson outweighs the needs improvement Lamar Jackson. What are you going to get? What are you getting when you get a Patrick Mahomes? Arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. However, there are times when his decision making can go south quick. And he might try to make plays where he probably just do the check down or just throw the ball out. But no, he's gonna try to make the play, and it could put you into a bad situation. But the great outweighs the needs improvement for Patrick Mahomes. Hell, it's not just young quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, what are you gonna get? You're gonna get a diva-like mentality. The organization is going to have to revolve around him. However, you're getting you're getting a possible now 4-time MVP. Like you're getting one of the best quarterbacks in the league. A lot of people would say, and I'm one of the people, that the good outweighs the bad for Aaron Rodgers. When we talk about Jimmy G, it's very apparent that he will not be there next year. I mean, how the seasons ended, the last few years, his injury history, them trading up to get Trey Lance, and you don't want to have your possible franchise quarterback sit that long. So it's very apparent that Jimmy G probably won't be there next year. And the question is, what do you get out of Jimmy G? What is Jimmy G? Jimmy G is he's an even quarterback. And I think that's the biggest concern for Jimmy G. We just talked about Lamar Jackson. The good outweighs the bad. Patrick Mahomes, the good outweighs the bad. Aaron Rodgers, the good outweighs the bad. Josh Allen, the good outweighs the bad. Hell, Joe Burrow, the good outweighs the bad. Matthew Stafford, the good outweighs the bad. Jimmy G, to me, is even. For one good, for one great, you have a horrible. For one good, you have a bad. Jimmy G, he can win you a game. Like he could be a franchise quarterback. However, on the other hand, Jimmy G will be in situations where you need to win this game. And he could overthrow a player, as we've seen in the Super Bowl, as we saw in the NFC Championship. I think he overthrew he overthrew George Kittle by like 3, 4, 5 yards. Same thing he did with Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl. Jimmy G can be clutch in clutch moments like we saw against the Packers. Making clutch passes to George Kittle, making clutch passes to Deebo Samuels. Then you can get a Jimmy G that we saw on Sunday, where you need to throw the ball to Brandon Ayuk, throw the ball too high. Or just you're already backed up. You need to play. Just take the sack or throw the ball out as far as out of bounds. Don't flick it to a guy when you have Aaron Donald draped on you. When Jimmy G's available, he could be a very good quarterback. Really good quarterback. Maybe, I'm not going to say top 15. Well, at his best, maybe top 15, top 20. On the other hand, Jimmy G has a long history of injuries. See what I'm saying? Even. There's not too much wrong with a lot of quarterbacks, especially a lot of quarterbacks that get their team to the NFC Championship. However, Jimmy G is such an even quarterback, and that to me is, I'm not going to say a problem, but that to me is a cause for a hesitation. Now, I will say this, and Jimmy G is going to have a lot of suitors. There's going to be a lot of people, because Jimmy G is an upgrade for a lot of people right now. Hell, I don't want to. I'm a Washington fan, man. Jimmy G is better than Tyler Heineke. Jimmy G would be an upgrade in Detroit. Jimmy G would be an upgrade in, of course, Washington, like I just said. Jimmy G will be an upgrade possibly in New York. Jimmy G will be an upgrade in Pittsburgh. As we'll talk about in a minute, Jimmy G can be an upgrade. Well, Jimmy G could be the starting quarterback in Tampa Bay. Maybe Green Bay, seeing what happens with Aaron Rodgers. There will be places that could use Jimmy G, and he would be an upgrade from their current or future status. But Jimmy G is like an enigma, man. It's like, what Jimmy G are you going to get? Are you going to get the great Jimmy G, or are you going to get the Jimmy G that, you know what it is? Jimmy G is he's one of those quarterbacks. There's quarterbacks that can win you games, but there's also quarterbacks that can win you games but need a lot of help. Aaron Rodgers doesn't need that much help. He can win you a game. As we're seeing, Joe Burrow doesn't need that much help. Matthew Stafford doesn't need that much help. Lamar Jackson doesn't need that. Patrick Mahomes doesn't need that much help. Tom Brady doesn't need that much help. They can win you games despite of stuff. I'm sure if Aaron Rodgers didn't have a good offensive line, he could still win games. Patrick Mahomes didn't have an offensive line, he could still win games. Jimmy G needs a lot to go right for him to win the game. You need a good offensive line. You need a good defense. Jimmy G can't carry. That's it. Jimmy G can't carry a franchise. Jimmy G can be a bright spot for a franchise, but he can't carry a franchise. He needs a great offensive line. You have the best tackle in football, arguably, in Trent Williams. He needs a great running game. He needs a great number one option. I mean, he has two of them at this point. You could honestly argue he has three. We talk about George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuels. He needs, there's some quarterbacks that don't have, hell, the Chiefs, well, no. The Bengals defense ain't that good, and they're in the Super Bowl. I'm sure if you replace Jimmy G for Joe Burrow, it'll look completely different. The Super Bowl will look completely different. So Jimmy G, he can be a good quarterback. He can be a great quarterback. And because of that, he's going to land in the play. Of course, he's going to be a starting quarterback, in my opinion, next year, just for a different franchise. And there's going to be multiple suitors for Jimmy G, rightfully so. Jimmy G is not a terrible player. But if we're being honest about Jimmy G can't carry a franchise. Jimmy G is not that good. Jimmy G cannot be the star of a franchise. Let me say that. He has the looks to be one, but you need a lot to go right for Jimmy G to Jimmy G can't carry a franchise. Jimmy G can't do what a Joe Burrow can do. Jimmy G can't do what a Patrick Mahomes can do. Hell, to a lesser extent, Jimmy G can't do what a Russell Wilson does. I say lesser, like Russell Wilson's lesser. I meant, Hell, look at that. What have we been talking about by Russell Wilson for a while now, ever since the Legion of Boom happened? The offensive line is terrible. The defense is terrible. Yet and still, outside of this year, due to injury and everything, Russell Wilson has still had the Seahawks at least in prime position to make the playoffs. Jimmy G couldn't do that. Jimmy G has a great offensive line, great running game, great coach, great offensive weapons, great defense. So, yeah, man. Jimmy G, he's going to land somewhere. Hell, he might even go to Washington. I don't know. But just be cautious when you get Jimmy G. I'm not saying he's terrible, because he's not. But you have to know what you need to have a quarterback like Jimmy G. And even in that, as we're seeing with the 49ers, that still may not be enough. And I'm not saying he's terrible, but he's a very even quarterback. And I'm even in saying the goods don't outweigh the bads, yet the bads don't outweigh the good. They're pretty much even. As much good as Jimmy G is, comes with bad.